So today I have the pleasure of introducing one of my dear colleague. Even though it's going to be a surprise for Alex when I say it, I consider him as my mentor. And obviously, we met at work, but because of the discipline and some of the qualities I admired a lot in Alex, I requested Alex to come and talk to me for this podcast. So I welcome Alex
Thanks,
Withers.
man. I appreciate you saying that. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you very much.
yeah,
So, Alex, we're going to start, of course, with the introduction.
yeah.
Um, I always look at people as human beings rather than people I work with, or
Right.
somebody who coaches me, or I can learn from. I have the attitude where I learn from everybody, and obviously, everybody has some kind of a quality I can learn from. So, if I have to ask you about introducing yourself, how would you introduce yourself?
Oh boy. I would say, very passionate about everything that I do. I like the idea of learning. I think learning by doing has been a big part of my career. Um, I had a very good education, but I was never the straight A student. Right? I played sports, I studied, I had fun, but all the time learning, and that
Mm-hmm.
makes you a bit more of a rounded individual, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think learning by doing, and that passion is family, friends, work, travel, um, getting to know people. Everything for me is about human interaction. COVID was miserable in so many ways, but the fact that we were locked down was terrible for my personality
Yeah.
because I love interacting with people.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
So, if I have to summarize what you just said, you're a well-rounded individual. You do not believe in just growing in one direction,
yeah,
because
that's
I
fair.
truly believe that we as human beings are we maintain variety of relationships at work, in
Hmm.
personal life, and rather than just focusing on just one craft, we should look at us as a well-rounded individual so that we can be a good friend, husband, daughter, or son, and parents,
Yeah,
right, and friend.
right.
Good. So tell me about your last name. We were just talking about
Mhm.
your last name. Explain it to me.
Well, so Alex Withers, the Withers family. We both come from very old cultures,
Mm-hmm.
and the Withers. There's a part of England called the Vale of the White Horse,
Mm-hmm.
and its signature is this beautiful hill with a chalk
Mm-hmm.
horse carved in it,
Okay.
and the Withers is the shoulder of the horse,
Mm.
and so you can date back many, many hundreds of years to the Withers family in the Vale of the White Horse.
Okay.
Um, and it's a beautiful part of England. And I haven't come across many Withers in
Mm-hmm.
my life and my travels.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved into my neighborhood in North Carolina about 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, down the street, there's a Withers family.
Oh, wow.
They're
That's
American.
like siblings,
Hmm.
relationship with your parents, and what
Yeah.
kind of kid were you? Um, all of that.
Um, I was always a very energetic outside kid. So no siblings, parents only able to have me. I went to boarding school at like 12, kind of a bit of traditional old English boarding school,
Okay.
which I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a great education,
Mm-hmm.
but I loved my family. I loved my friends in my village,
Mm-hmm.
and so, I made the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly appreciated the education and then the lift it gave me to college and everything else. But I think if I could go back and do it again,
Mm-hmm.
I would have stayed home and gone to the regular local school.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the reason for your parents to send you to boarding school when you did not like it?
I think it's just honestly, it's that thing of, some people are, if you can afford a BMW, you get a BMW,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you can afford to send your child to boarding school, the
Mm.
education's excellent.
Okay,
You should send your child to boarding
okay,
school.
okay.
I think there's no question on
Yeah,
the mental side of it
right,
or the desire. It's just
right.
like that's what you should do.
Okay, okay.
So that's why I have three wonderful children with my wife, and that's why they're not going to boarding school. They're gonna stay in the neighborhood and have fun.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your parents. What were their professions? And what was your relationship with both of them?
So my dad, a very successful businessman, ran large FTSE 100 companies. Very driven guy, very workaholic. Loved work, traveled a lot, and so I've learned a lot from him. And my career probably mirrors his a little bit. If I can be as successful as he is, I'll have done very well. So a lot of respect for my dad. My mom was super smart lady. Fun story, especially in the technology world. But my mom purchased one of the first home computers. It was an Osborne,
Okay.
and it was about this big,
Okay.
and 95% of it was the computer, and then it like a big suitcase, and then the keyboard would fold down,
Oh wow.
and it had a floppy disk,
Okay.
and the only program it ran was called SuperCalc.
Okay.
And SuperCalc was the only way you could run digital expenses as a business.
Okay.
So she set up her own business, and she would rent the computers to all the local businesses.
Oh.
So they would do their finances once a year or once a month. She'd drop the computer off. 2 days later, she'd pick the computer up. She'd take it to another company.
Okay.
So she's a very smart lady, but she was a very proud homemaker, and she stayed home a lot while my dad traveled.
Right. Sounds good. So who are you more closer to, dad or mom?
I think pretty lucky that both of them are pretty awesome. My mum passed about 3 years ago, very
Sorry to hear
suddenly.
that.
I was in Tokyo on business, and will be forever grateful that I was able to go fly from Tokyo to Frankfurt to London, and get there before she passed. I was able to say bye to her, and but she was awesome. So very close to her because she's the nurturing side of it, right? I was her little boy.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad's like, he's the man, and he's the career guy, and like I looked up to him from. So very close to both of them.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice. Very
Both
good.
very traditional
Yeah.
family. These days, we live in a different world now,
Right. Yeah.
but back then, very traditional family.
Right. So tell us about your move to US. Like how long ago that happened? Why did that happen? Because a lot of people, those who are from Pakistan, like
Right.
myself,
Yeah.
born and raised in Pakistan, came to the
Yeah.
United States 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So coming from a third world country to US was, of course, there is a reason, and
Yeah.
it was a big, shock for me,
Right.
cultural shock. But what I would like to know, somebody who was born, raised in a, very privileged family in England, what made you move to US and why you end up staying here?
There's something. So first off, I love living in the US. There's something about the US that's always appealed to me. I came on vacation every summer to Florida. Like the British people, they do. If you got the wherewithal to do it, they'll go to like skiing for a winter holiday, and they'll go find hot sun, right? Because we don't get hot sun in England. So they'll go to south of France or Mediterranean, or they'll go to Florida.
Oh, okay.
Just like bake me, right? Even though English people go white to red, right? but we just want to get some type of tan.
Yeah.
So we would always go somewhere hot. So we would go to Florida, and as a kid growing up, when you're very impressionable, I fell in love with it over here. Like there was so much stuff here that we didn't have in England, like little things like Captain Crunch, pecan pie, Sprite.
Okay.
Like, we didn't have that stuff growing up. And so I couldn't wait to get to America each summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so when I went through business school, I always wanted to do a period of my career in America. And I thought, so I left business school and went onto the Pepsi graduate program. And that was amazing training. Great start to my career being on the Pepsi graduate program. Thinking that would be a good path to get me to America, right? There's not much better brand in America than Pepsi or Coke or whatever. And so, but it never happened. And then I went to work for a newspaper, Financial Times. And about 3.5 years into that, an opportunity came for me to move to New York. I had an amazing boss, and when she moved back to New York, she moved me with her to run the digital business in North America. And I moved to New York City, which is not America,
Mm-hmm.
right? New York City is its own country. It's so different. So it's very foreign to me, and loved it. Fell in love with it.
Yeah.
The people, having good times, the work culture, traveling around the US, all the friends I made.
Yeah. Yeah. So you went to school in England,
Yes.
and you have a bachelor's in business.
Business, correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So after that, what happened?
So my boss at the Financial Times was my mentor, and she was very supportive of my career. I'd done 7 years at the FT, and they sponsored my green card.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then just very organically, after my green card arrived, I got an opportunity to go work for ESPN.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I always remember the stat. There was, for the role, it was a marketing director role for ESPN.com.
Okay.
So I looked after ESPN.com and fantasy games.
Okay.
And the role, I think they had 10,000 applications for like one job.
Oh, wow.
And so I was lucky enough to get that, and loved ESPN.
Yeah.
Working in the center of New York. Every other week I'd go up to Bristol, Connecticut, where it was founded, and met a lot of really good friends there. I'd stay in touch with them, and that got me into sports, and then into golf. So then the U.S. Golf Association, U.S. Open, Women's Open, and I've always lived in this world where the consumer, whether it be a fan or a media consumer, and technology kind of intersect, right? It's how does technology make people's lives easier? I couldn't program my way out of a paper bag, right? I'm not a technology programmer, but I understand how technology can facilitate the experience, and I understand the experience. And so I'm kind of a market-facing technologist. And so my career has taken that path, whether it be working for a big brand like ESPN, or whether it be working in a startup, or whether it's be working in a mid to large size technology business.
That's awesome. So, and for how long did you work for ESPN?
I think only 18 months before the USGA came and recruited me.
Okay.
Had no real desire to leave.
Right.
It was wonderful. Had so much fun. I worked on Monday Night Football, NASCAR, all of the digital side of the business. But golf was my passion, and they offered me an opportunity to start a whole digital program at the Golf Association.
For USGA.
For the USGA. And I was like,
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
That's
so
awesome.
That's what I got to go do, and work with some great people, for some great people. And yeah.
So for how long did you do USGA then?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Had a lot of fun with it. Plan was to move south after that. My wife is from North Carolina.
Okay.
And I met Lindsay in North Carolina, but I was living in New York, so she moved into New York with me.
Okay.
And then when we had kids, we moved back to North Carolina.
Yeah. So how long ago did you meet her? Were you working for ESPN or USGA when you met her?
ESPN at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And met her in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You were telling me that you met her on cruise.
No, I met her on a trip I was traveling.
Okay, you were
to North Carolina.
Okay.
And met her. She was working. She was a waitress at the restaurant I was in.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, I'll come take you for dinner in a couple of weeks."
Okay.
And called her up, said, "I'll take you for dinner." And she's like, "But don't you live in New York?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll fly down."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I flew down to North Carolina, took her out for dinner.
Yeah, that was a love at
the
first
rest
sight.
is history. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
good. So you have three kids.
3 kids.
2 girls, 1 boy.
Correct. Yeah.
And how old?
15-year-old girl, 13-year-old boy, 9-year-old girl.
And who are you close to?
Oh, they're all. It's amazing to me, like the humanity and God and what He can create. That 3 living beings from the same 2 people can be so different.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yep.
Anna's My oldest is super smart, very creative, quite quiet, more of an introvert. My boy Ben is great sportsman, great golfer. Just a classic boy. Loves riding around the neighborhood with his friends, has fun, loud, maybe obnoxious. And then Lucy is just this extrovert, this bundle of energy, totally the opposite to Anna. And so it's just so funny how all three people are, all these little three humans are so different, but they're all awesome. So I don't think, I obviously get a lot of time with Ben because of golf. But I try and spend more time with Anna when she's not on the phone, which is hard. You guys are on the phones.
Right.
And then Lucy's just like, she's the sweetheart. Like she'll just follow me and mum around.
So as you know, I have two boys. Right? One is behind the camera right now. Yes. So we have installed Family Link on their phones. So where I can control the time. And whenever I feel like turning it off, I can. So far, we haven't done anything. Right. Because these boys are great. But we keep an eye on them through Family Link. It's a Google program available on all phones for free. But it allows us to just, monitor how much time. So they've been allocated 2 hours a day on phone. However you want to spend. You can either spend in one go. Or you can, spend 5 minutes
here. I love that.
Yeah. It's a great program, at least working for us.
So when we finish this interview, you need to show me how to do it.
Okay, absolutely.
We've tried Bark.
Okay.
And I'm terrible. This comes back to the idea of I'm a market-facing technologist. When it comes to actually getting technology to work,
To your surprise, this is an interesting story. My 13-year-old just got his phone when he graduated from high school, from middle school. So what happened is I bought him a phone because now all his communication is going to be with teacher on the phone. So the elder one said, install Family Link and blah blah blah. So after installing that, I also installed it on the elder one.
Nice. He sabotaged himself.
It was self-inflicted.
Yes. Learn by doing.
Yes. Okay. Good. So. Tell us about your journey to Nostar, Alex, because I know that you've been part of Nostar for 2 years now.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
So compared to ESPN, USGA, of course, Nostar is very different animals. So what made you feel that, Nostar is the right fit for you, and what have you been doing at Nostar?
So, I went through a lot of thinking around this particular career move. I've been very fortunate to have a career coach that I've worked with for 15 years. She has a community of like-minded marketing and sales executives. And so I've learned a lot from the community and from her. And we went through an exercise of kind of what was going to be the best place for me to fly, right? I've worked at, major global organizations. I've worked in a 2-person startup. And they're so different in terms of what the role is, how creative you can be, how successful you can be. And so when I went through that exercise, I went through filters, and it was company size, industry, segment, role, right? I've had roles in my career where I've been just a chief marketing officer, and I love marketing. But I've also been in roles where I've been the chief revenue officer or head of sales and marketing. And so I knew in my heart that I wanted to own revenue, not just marketing or not just sales. Because those two groups, when they work together, it's amazing. And so I wanted that group. So that was a really important thing for me. So I went through this exercise of really thinking very, very purely about what I wanted to do next. Sometimes when you work for large organizations, they're amazing, but you can get stuck in the bureaucracy. Right? You're just in the boardroom with a pencil, making budget cuts, forecast changes, and you lose that ability to grow creatively. And so for me, it was, where's the right balance? And then it comes down to people. I met Prasad at the PGA show. I had to hunt him down.
He was on his phone.
Yeah. So I found him in the booth, went and spent time with him and Imran. But I really I really liked him immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great feeling. He's got a very warm heart,
Mm-hmm.
but very driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that was a really good recipe for me,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, I'm an emotional leader,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, it's been really good to be here. That's why I did it, and I think I never want to join a company where everything's perfect,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's boring.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I saw an opportunity to work with a very talented sales team
Mm-hmm.
to improve processes and help them elevate.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of work to do on marketing, and we
Mm-hmm.
have an amazing lady that runs marketing in India, and I enjoy working with her. And we're building a good team in Hyderabad.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was just this great opportunity to take something from good to great.
Okay.
And then working with coworkers like yourself and the product team and Imran and Prasad, it's got a really cool family feel,
Mm-hmm.
but you can still put your own fingerprint on things. You
Yeah.
can still be free to grow and grow teams and mentor people. And
Yeah.
so I feel very empowered and free
Mm-hmm.
to do great things at Northstar.
Yeah.
Um, and then the final thing, not forgetting the industry, the people,
Yeah.
right? The customers.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
When you got these events, these CMAA
Oh
events and
yeah.
HFTP events,
Oh yeah.
the people are so sweet,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're just really nice to work with
Yeah.
and for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your piece of advice for our customer-facing people, whether they are
Mm.
trainers, whether they are project managers, and there are many people, those who haven't been to the United States, they
Mm-hmm.
haven't worked face to face with customers, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I know that people are awesome in this industry. They are from hospitality, so they're very hospitable by
Mm-hmm.
nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're able to do so well in the industry.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't survive really if you're
Yeah.
faking it. So you can't really make it in here. So, what is your piece of advice to new or people, those
Mm-hmm.
who are not face to face dealing with customers?
Mm-hmm.
One piece of advice you think is very important for our customer
Yeah.
facing people?
I think, I'm a big believer in left side of the brain, right side of the brain, and that you can think about those two halves in many different ways, art and science. And with the science side, right, becomes technical, fact driven, truth, right, binary, true positive, true negative, right. It's very very black and white.
Yep.
And the art side of it is the emotional, the EQ, the finding other ways to solve problems rather than just a straight A or B or one or zero. And I think when you're in a technology company, sometimes the temptation is to say, well, but we did all the things we were supposed to do. I don't understand why this isn't working, or I did what I was told to do. I should be done,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to driving to the outcome. And the outcome is the customer happy, right? Did we solve the problem for the customer?
Mm-hmm.
Because what you did doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The outcome of what you did matters.
Yes.
And you're right. We serve a predominantly Western culture in a hospitality market. It's the perfect storm for emotional enforcement, right?
Mm.
Like it's this, we're not serving the banking industry,
Yeah.
right? Now, our only blessing on that flip side is that we're an accounting platform, right? But these people expect
Yeah.
really good service.
Yes.
And it goes beyond the technical,
Yeah.
and it goes beyond the factual.
Right.
It becomes a relationship.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
And there's a lot to be said for the customer is always right, even when they're wrong,
Mm.
right? Because you have to make them feel like,
Mm-hmm.
I hear you,
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
I disagree on that one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is how we're going to make you more successful
Yep.
because you're my customer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Great. All right. So, what was your experience with Nostar so far in terms of the biggest challenge
Hmm.
you have seen and you've identified and now you're working on? And do you think that you're on the right path, or you want to change your path?
I think probably the biggest challenge is how to balance growth with culture. Sometimes you can grow so fast it's at the expense of culture. sometimes you can protect culture so much you can't grow. And so I think for me, the biggest balance is how hard do we push every year, right? You want to keep growing every year, but you also want to take everyone on the journey with you, right? I've had experiences in my career where, my ambition may have got the better of me and we grew too quick. I didn't take everyone on the journey with me.
Yeah.
And so our department was like, oh, look at those guys over there. They think they're so amazing. But no, we want you all on the boat with us,
Yeah.
right? And so I think it's about how do you create change? How do you drive change in a way that everyone feels they're in there with you? It's a team effort. We're not going too quick. We're not going too slow. It's the whole organization behind it, because it really has to be.
Yeah.
In a technology company, it's you can't sell if product's not on board. Product can't survive if the product's not selling,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't matter which way you cut it. Every department has a role to play.
Yeah.
And so if what I love about what we're doing at Northstar is we're having the conversation. And so if there are any barriers or things that we need to break down, we're doing that through open dialogue so that we can all be on the boat, and we can all be heading in the same direction. That's more important than going too fast.
Yeah, that's very good. Very, very good. So tell me about this, coach you have. We had that conversation yesterday. I was very intrigued by the fact that you had this person for 15 years, you said.
Yeah.
What is the need of having coach for somebody who's been in the business for so long? What is the value of, having a coach in your life?
I think there's a couple of things. It's sometimes, honestly, just the ability to talk things out is very helpful. And not in every role you don't have that. So I enjoy the fact that you and I get to talk things out. I get to talk things out with Prasad. We just that helps. But when you don't have that, just having someone else who is so well-rounded, has so much exposure to other executives, that you can have a really good conversation and talk things through. That's one benefit. Another benefit is she'll tell it like it is, even if I don't want to hear it.
Yep.
She'll be like, Alex, haven't we seen that before from you? And I'm like, I don't want to hear that right now. She'll challenge me, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's really healthy as well.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is that the community that she has, there are so many other like-minded souls with diverse experiences in different industries, packaged goods, real estate, of course, technology. There's a lot of education, and so they might all be chief revenue officers, CEOs, CMOs, but they're in different worlds, and so they have different perspectives. Like we were at a think tank at Tufts University in Boston a few weeks ago, and we had a whole session on AI. And I came in with my thoughts around AI because we're doing some cool stuff at Northstar with AI. And I was the lone wolf in the room because I hadn't thought about AI for our own processes, right? I'm thinking about AI to build product. Like, how can we take product to market, like Ava?
Yeah.
No one else in the room was thinking about using AI to build market-facing product. They were thinking about how to use generative AI for content marketing, to improve processes, to augment staff, right? And so for me, just that diversity of thought comes from the community that my career coach has created, and that gives me the opportunity to grow and then obviously have direct conversations with her as well.
Awesome. So where do you see 10 years from now? I'm talking about Alex.
So obviously, world domination with Northstar, right? Yeah, every club in the world is using Northstar, because it's amazing.
Right.
Even though the salespeople will sell it, the product needs to sell itself. And I think we're lucky at Northstar that we've done so much innovation that people see the modern side of things. And I'll tell you one quick story on that I learned when I was up in Boston. We talk about in the sales process to our customers about, you need to stop looking backwards, you need to look forwards, especially when it comes to technology purchases. And so we talk about this term future-proof. And we're talking about future-proof at this think tank. And everyone's like, no, you can't. There's no way you can be future proof. No one knows, right?
Absolutely.
What you can be is future ready.
Yes.
Right. And so we started this whole session around future readiness.
Yes.
And so our job at Northstar is to create future ready for our customers.
Yep.
And so if we keep doing that, we're
Yeah.
going to have a great 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
at Northstar. In terms of where Alex Withers wants to be, it's more important that where I am, I can grow, and I can mentor and lead teams that can also grow, and I can watch them grow. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody in the team that you lead exit out the top, right?
Yep.
And my mentor in New York City at the FT always used to say to me, one day I'll work for you and it'll be the proudest moment.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to work for some of the people that have worked for me.
Yeah.
And so it's about growth for me, about growth for the teams, and it's about enjoying your job. You're there all the time. Better enjoy it, right?
Yep.
And then it's about constantly pushing for balance between family and work. Sometimes I get it wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm traveling too much.
Yeah.
And I see the look in my 9-year-old girl's eyes. I'm like, I'm traveling too much. Lucy's not happy with me. So I think for me, 10 years of growth, family, fun, friends, work. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So apart from playing golf and work, of course, which you like the most, anything else which we do not know about Alex Withers? Surprise me with the hobby or interest you have.
Did we mention golf?
Yeah, we did. Like I told you the other day, I started writing poetry 8 months ago. Right?
Okay.
So I always read books, but I never thought that I would be able to write poetry.
Yeah.
And something changed in me in past 8 months where I ended up writing poetry, and I've been consistently doing it.
Yeah.
So that's something
That's awesome.
nobody knows about me. Even I did not know this about myself. So, so tell me something about yourself, like anything you do not know.
So I'll tell you, I am a diehard YouTube do-it-yourself guy.
Okay.
So I will do everything around the house if I can.
Okay.
Even if I give myself an electric shock.
Okay.
I will replace walls, knock down walls. I'll get approval to do it first.
Okay.
But if I get architectural approval, that wall's gone.
Okay.
I will rewire things. I will replumb things.
Okay.
And I will watch YouTube videos and teach myself how to do that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And at some point, I'll cap out, right? And we actually just did a project in the living room, and I was like, okay, I think I've done about 90% of it, but if I don't get someone who knows what they're doing to finish it, I'm going to be in trouble. So, but I do pride myself on, I just love learning.
Okay.
And so just learning how to do stuff is really cool for me. And I was like, how do you have the patience to do it? So it's not patience, it's fun. I love learning how to do stuff. So, yeah.
So Alex, obviously in a leadership position, a lot of time, whether at home, in your personal life, or at work, you are in a position where things are affecting your mental health, right? And as a man, I am a big proponent of talking about mental health of a man.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about, of course, women mental health, because sometimes they're staying home, sometimes they're staying with kids a lot, right? And we are so successful because of the wives and the support we have from our wives, right? But how do you deal with those kind of issues where you're bombarded with negativity, whether from personal life or from work? So what's your coping mechanism, or what is your advice to somebody like me, who's dealing with some negative thoughts in my head?
So I think there's some stuff you can read about around self-efficacy. It's like that belief in your own ability to thrive, and it's about having good role models. It's about learning by doing, and it's about believing that you can enact positive change in the environment, and it's about surrounding yourself with positive people. And you're not always going to be able to surround yourselves with positive people, but the more you do it, the easier it is for you to create positivity and then pass that on. so I'm always trying to be glasses half full, more positive, because that's where the magic happens. And so from a mental health perspective, because you definitely have these moments where it's tough, you've got the balance wrong, you're pushing too hard in one area. One area is not going very well, the other two are going okay, or two are going bad, one's going well. And so you just have to stay strong through that, take a breath, have perspective. My daughter, my 9-year-old, said this to me the other day. I'm pretty sure she read it on a mug, but she still said it to me. She goes, life is not about how to avoid the storm, it's about how to dance in the rain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
I was
so
like,
beautiful.
yeah, I was like, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I'm like,
that's
that
so
is it,
beautiful. It
right?
is. Yeah. Enjoy
Listen,
the moment.
we're gonna
Whatever
have
the good you
rain.
have. Yeah.
It's gonna rain,
Yeah.
right? Because if we don't have rain,
Yeah.
you don't have trees, you don't have
Yeah.
plants,
Yeah.
right? You need
Yeah.
rain, you need
Yes.
sun.
Yes.
You got to learn how to dance in the rain.
Yeah.
And it's just taking a breath and realizing that this too shall pass, and not react in the moment, learn from it, and grow from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not always easy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This is such a beautiful thought from a 9-year-old.
Yes.
Right. And doesn't matter where she read it.
Right.
The good thing is she remembers it.
Yeah.
And somebody like me, like who's probably like 5 times older than her,
right,
can learn from that. So on this thought, I think we can end the conversation today. I would like to have more conversations with you, Alex, in future. So whenever you're in town, we should do it again.
Yeah.
Because every single time I sit with someone like yourself who's so experienced in the industry, and you have a very different kind of an experience in general than myself, then I end up learning something great. So thank you very much for coming.
It's always good chatting, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time. Yeah, good to see you.